The Denver Nuggets sweep the Los Angeles Lakers and advance to their first NBA Finals. Now, there were some things in this series that I was right about and some things I was wrong about, and I'll just say right away that I was wrong about the Nuggets. I thought they were a very good team. I chose the Suns to beat the Nuggets in the second round, which was clearly a mistake. I learned from my mistake, and then I was picking the Nuggets to win in most likely 6. If they had to have a 7th game, they'd win in 7. But a clean sweep of the Los Angeles Lakers. What do I appreciate about the Nuggets? I appreciate that they built this team the right way. They built themselves through the draft. You look at 3 of the 5 starters, their superstar, the true MVP of the league, Nikola Jokic, was a second-round draft pick. They selected him. Then they had 2 first-round picks that they used on Jamal Murray and Michael Porter. And then the rest of the team, and they're only about 6 or 7 deep right now as benches have been shortened, as is the usual in the NBA when you get to the conference finals and the NBA finals. They added pieces with the bench. They added pieces to the starting lineup. But this isn't a bot team. I look at the Lakers, on the other hand. There is no one, not a single player in their starting lineup or that's currently coming off the bench in this series that they have drafted or retained. Not one. LeBron James, free agent, and I always feel Anthony Davis got off the hook with his behavior and giving up in New Orleans, whether you think that was right or wrong. And I really respect the Nuggets for that. And I never understand from a Warriors fan perspective all the grief the Warriors get for buying championships. I know that they are usually at the top in payroll, but they built the team through the draft as well. They have a dynasty because of great drafting. Curry, Thompson, Green, originally Harrison Barnes, even Kevon Looney, late first round draft pick. And what team of yours, if you're a fan of another NBA team, would you complain about if you were in the situation and say, you know what, I don't think we'll sign Kevin Durant. We're not interested in getting Kevin Durant through free agency. The rest of the stars on that team were their own. One player, really, and then Iguodala. You won't find another team that has less pieces that are acquired outside of drafting. I mean, there's only 2 rounds in the NBA draft anyway. The Nuggets have been patient. They've kept the same coach. They've had consistency, and it has come together this year, and they've built their team the right way, and I think it's good for the NBA. I thought it was going to be very difficult for the Nuggets to win in Los Angeles because the Lakers have not lost a game heading into this series in Los Angeles. They were as hot as any team down the stretch in the NBA, at least in the Western Conference. And then you know the whistles. The officiating is so unfair in Los Angeles. And even though the Nuggets went in and swept, winning both games in Los Angeles, I thought it was a joke that Jokic was in the foul trouble that he was in. It's as if they were trying as hard as they could, the NBA and the officiating, to stretch this series out, and the Nuggets were still able to overcome that disadvantage. The Warriors couldn't overcome it, but the Nuggets could. And the fact that the Nuggets were a big team helped them so much in this matchup against the Lakers. I mean, Anthony Davis had a statistically good series, but the fact that you have Jokic and Porter and Aaron Gordon, talk about stepping it up. Well, we'll get to the individual performances here. Again, thoroughly impressed by the Nuggets. They deserve to be heading to the NBA Finals. They're the clear favorite. They have the advantage over anyone that comes out of the Eastern Conference. And I do question at times whether the NBA, to a certain extent, is rigged. To a certain extent, that they are extending series out longer than they should be for money and to keep their major markets in it. They're not happy about, I mean, you know how unhappy the NBA will be with a likely Nuggets and Heat NBA Finals, Miami and Denver. Oh, if they could have just had Los Angeles Lakers and the Boston Celtics, but they're not. It's going to be Heat and Nuggets starting in Denver. The Nuggets were the first team to win a playoff game. They win 2 in a row in Los Angeles. Jokic was in foul trouble. Let's go back to Game 3 quickly, but I want to spend more time talking about Game 4 and just the Nuggets in general and celebrate what they did. Jokic was sitting out because of foul trouble, and yet the Nuggets were able to win that game, and the Lakers were not able to take advantage of it because what do you have? You have consistency. You have a team that's chemistry. That's something the Suns never had. Even going back to the Warriors when they acquired Kevin Durant, it took time. The Suns just didn't have enough time. They tried. They didn't have enough time, but the Nuggets are a close team. You know, although they had injuries last year, they were together all year this year. When you go to Los Angeles, you have to deal with the free throw disparity, which is a problem, and you have to deal with, again, the unfair whistle. Jamal Murray was the story of Game 3. Jokic still had a good game, no doubt, but Jamal Murray in the first half was incredible. He could hardly miss. If you look at his numbers, he ended up with 37 points in Game 3, 7 rebounds, 6 assists. Jokic, this was his quiet game for the series. It was 24 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists. That was his worst game. Porter with 14, Caldwell Pope with 17, and when they won Game 3 and the way they played without Jokic and that the Lakers could not go ahead and put any distance between them and the Nuggets, but the Nuggets were still there, keeping their composure and eventually extending their lead at the end of the game. That's what killed the Lakers. And when you go up 3-0, the series is over. There's nothing left to say. It was a 119-108 victory. And you said, well, it's either going to be a sweep or it's going to be a gentleman's sweep. They'll win it in 5 in Denver, but it'll be 5 at the most. Game 4. And this went right down to the end with that final shot of LeBron James. The Nuggets win by 2 points, 113 to 111. Jokic, 30 points, 14 rebounds, 13 assists. Murray, a very efficient game, 10 of 18. He was 0 for 4 from 3, but 25 points. Porter, 15. Gordon, 22. Huge game from Aaron Gordon, and you can't say enough about his defense. Think about the 2 assignments he had in the last 2 series. Why don't you guard Kevin Durant and LeBron James? Kevin Durant and LeBron James, and yeah, Durant had some monster games, and in this game, LeBron had a big game, his best game of this series by far. But Gordon was sensational throughout the series. And the guy that doesn't get enough credit is Bruce Brown. Has been an excellent six man for the Nuggets. He really keeps things together when Jokic goes out. Because Murray is the point guard, but to me he's really more of a two guard. The real point guard, who's the point center, is Jokic on offense. I mean, everything goes around him, but he gets everyone involved. He's moving around. He's at the top of the key. He's in the paint. I can't say enough. I mean, what a performance by the Nuggets. You move over to the Lakers, and LeBron, 40 points, 10 rebounds, 9 assists. Anthony Davis was 6 of 15, 14 rebounds, 21 points. The box score looks good, but it was too little too late. He scored and contributed in the fourth quarter. I mean, the Nuggets were down by 15 at halftime, and the Lakers failed to put them away. I know this is the NBA. This is a game of runs. It's a game of momentum. One team cools off while the other gets hot. That's how the NBA is. But when it's an elimination game, the Lakers simply did not do enough. And they did not get enough from the other players. The bench, look at that. The bench only had 10 points. The starting lineup scored, and that whole Hachimura thing on Jokic, that worked for a short time in the series. But when they continued to go that matchup, or if it was Anthony Davis, just singling him was not enough. And even if you double him, he's one of the very best passers in the game. Someone else is good enough on that team, they'll burn you for it. So there's no answer for Jokic right now. This is the year of Jokic. And what about that three-pointer that he had over Anthony Davis? What a play that was. That three-pointer, that's going to go down in his highlight reel. That's going to be one of his career highlights. Let's look at series stats. And I know stats aren't everything, but they do help a lot when you're breaking down these games. For the series, Jokic, 27.8 points, 14.5 rebounds, 11.8 assists, so he averaged well over a triple-double. He had 1.3 steals, 1.3 blocks. I've been somewhat critical of his defense. He was at least average for a center. I'll say he held his own on defense. He did his part. He was not a liability. Murray, 32.5 points, 6.3 rebounds, 5.3 assists. Porter had 15 points a game. Pope, 14, and I will say 9.3 rebounds. He gave them rebounds, so almost a double-double out Porter, which he should get with his size. Gordon had, Pope had 14.8 points, Gordon with 12.8, Bruce Brown with 12.3. So you had 6 players averaging 12 or more points, even though a lot of times they were only going 7 deep. You move over to another thing about the Nuggets here. Murray, from three-point range, he was 40%. Jokic, though he doesn't take as many threes, he attempted only 17 in the series. He was 8 of 17, coming in at 47%. I mean, he picks his spots, and he picks them well. He knows where to shoot them. 47% from 3 for him. And then Michael Porter, 42%. And Caldwell Pope, 44%. Now that's an amazing stat. 4 Nuggets were averaging at least 40% or higher from 3. Going over to the Lakers, LeBron, we talk about LeBron dropping off, and yes, he's not quite the player he used to be at age 38. He almost averaged a triple-double in this series. 27.8 points, 9.5 rebounds, and 10 assists, 1.5 steals. Yeah, that's a 38-year-old basketball player there. Anthony Davis, 26.8 points, 14 rebounds, 2.8 blocks. The stats look great for Davis. He was not that good. He had 40 points in game 1. He's as good as he is, he's somewhat inconsistent. If you really want to talk about, though, inconsistent, go to the Celtics Heat series. Jason Tatum. I'm a fan of his game, but he's just been so up and down compared to last year. He was far more consistent. Gotta give credit to Austin Reeves. He was 21.3 points in the series. He shot 56% from 3. He was 14 of 25 from the series. Does it help that you're playing with LeBron James and Anthony Davis and all the attention they get? Yes, but he definitely did his job. D'Angelo Russell, though, I got to point at him. 6.3 points a game out of Russell. And he shot 13% from 3. Wow. LeBron, he had a good game from 3 in game 4. He had his best game. The first 2 games, he only, if I'm not mistaken, and I think this was true from our video of games 1 and 2, he missed all of his 3-pointers. He was 0 for 10 for the first 2 games. But LeBron, if you can criticize one thing, or one part of his game during the playoffs, only 26% in the conference finals from 3, or if you want to round it off, is 27, which isn't good enough. But that's enough on the Lakers. The Nuggets should be here. I think it's great in the NBA when you get the first seed that makes it to the conference finals. Jokic wins the series MVP, and the Lakers are eliminated. You know, I celebrate certain things in sports once my teams get eliminated. In Major League Baseball, I celebrate the Yankees getting eliminated. Even more than the Dodgers as a Giants fan. I do. Because the Yankees don't deserve the attention they receive. It was a whole different story when it was the Joe Torre Yankees. Those teams deserved all the credit and all the praise from the sports world for what they accomplished. They won 4 World Series in 5 years, 96, 7, 8, and 2000. They got to 5 World Series in 6 years. That'd be 5 pennants that they won. But the teams since, especially this past decade, have never been worthy of the coverage that the media gives them. So I say hooray and celebrate when the Yankees get eliminated. In the NFL, that's an easy one. It's the Cowboys, and I go off on that, and I go on and on about my dislike for the Cowboys, because the Cowboys, it's worse than any other sport for a team that hasn't won a championship since 1995 and hasn't even been to a Super Bowl since 1995. It's a joke. In the NBA, there's 2 things I celebrate. I celebrate James Harden getting eliminated in the playoffs. He's a great player. I just can't stand his game because so much of it is taking advantage of the rules that are in place and drawing fouls. That doesn't work in the playoffs. Just play the game. That's what I feel like always saying and screaming. There's certain players that you love watching them. I love watching Jokic as an example. I like watching Murray. I like watching Curry. I like watching the style of, criticize me if you want, Kyrie Irving when he's in the game and he's focused. I just can't stand James Harden. Dribble, 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 dribble. Then the step back three or drawing the foul. I actually raised a glass to the Celtics when they defeated and eliminated the 76ers. The other thing is the Lakers. So thank you, Nuggets, for eliminating the Lakers. As far as I'm concerned, you are the team to beat. And if the Heat get in, and they probably will sweep, I don't see how it's going to be more than 5 games. As well coached as the Heat are, and they play so well as a team, they're no match for the Nuggets. Let's just say the Celtics do the unthinkable and they get, just hypothetically, they get in. No, it's not going to happen. They're going to get swept. They'd get swept. So first NBA Finals for the Denver Nuggets. Congratulations. You did it. And appreciate what you're watching. I said that with LeBron back when he returned the Cavs. And he was in his early 30s at that time. And I was saying, oh, he can't do this much longer. And yeah, we were all wrong. He's been doing it a whole lot longer. It's 2023. That was in 2015, I remember saying that during the finals. Jokic is one of the all-time great offensive players the NBA has ever seen. You know, we can talk about his legacy another time. We can talk about what happens and how we look at his career after the finals, assuming they win. From an offensive standpoint, we've never seen a player like this. We have not seen someone who can take over the game, scoring, rebounding, and distributing at that size. Then there's intelligence. Even against LeBron James, Jokic, was he not the smartest player on the floor? That's really saying something, because you could argue that LeBron, just from a basketball IQ, is better than anyone in NBA history. And Jokic was controlling that game, not LeBron. And just appreciate what you're watching. That's what I say. You may not see a play like that. Everyone gets excited about this new prospect or that new prospect in the draft. Okay. But this is one unique player. I mean, think about all the excitement over Luka just a year or two ago, and we're not talking about him anymore. He's still great talent, sure. But Jokic is so far beyond him. Look at this. All-time NBA playoff triple-doubles. Magic Johnson 30, LeBron James 28, and number 3, Nikola Jokic 14. He already has half, and you know LeBron has played in so many more playoff games than anybody else in league history. He already has half as many as LeBron. And I don't mean to get too far ahead of myself, but what's frightening about the Nuggets is I see them getting better. Jokic, 27, 28 years old, he could still get a little better. Murray is young, Porter has so much room to grow and he could become a star player himself. The Nuggets are going to stay around for a while. We say that and throw that out with other teams, but you've got 3 very good young players that are under 30 that bring different skills to the table. You have Jokic, who we said one of a kind, 6'11", 280. He does everything on the offensive side. He's a mismatch. Then you got Murray, who can score and is fast, getting to the basket. And when he gets hot from 3, he gets hot from 3. And he knows not when to shoot too many threes. And he has a mid-range game when he needs it. And then Porter, you're talking about a guy who's 6'10", who shoots around 40% from 3. If he adds more of a mid-range game and he goes to the basket more, look out. This may just be the start of something very special in Denver.